Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for tuning in to another episode of the Generational Wrestling Podcast. As always, yours truly, the 28-year-old piece of gold, the franchise, aka the showstopper, better known as the GOW, Wrestling Tribal Chief. And with me, as always, my tag team partner, my brother, my family. He is the flyest in the room, Mr. 1, 2, 3. That's Down K Breezy, aka King, so better known as the EC's Wrestling. Isaac Hayes in the building, bro. What's going on?
Man, what's good with you, man? Wanted to come talk with the people. It's Monday night. Some are getting ready to watch Raw. I haven't figured that out yet. But other than that, man, just want to talk some news, man, about what's been going on.
Well, speaking of, man, I know you had a few things you wanted to talk about, and there was a couple of things, I wanted to go over with you too, like you say, for the people. One of the things, we talked about it a little bit already, but it's kind of since grown. That is, of course, Mustafa Ali. Then, of course, the Inspiration, formerly known as the Iconics. The rumor is, they turned down the spot at the Rumble. WWE pushing for Ronda Rousey to come back. Moose still sending shots at Roman Reigns. Nick Gage news, Brian Cage news, but we get into all that. All right, too cold, man. Now, before we get into, what I had kind of written down. It's a lot to dissect. I know me and you, we were just talking about some stuff, man. So, what is one of those newsworthy items, man, that you had in your mind that you really want to get off your chest, man, for us?
Well, since it's not Tuesday yet, let's talk a little NXT, man. And oh my, man, the reason for the change was because they weren't beating the competition.
Correct.
The supposed non-competition. I'm sorry, I'll say that. And so they moved to Tuesday nights, which let's be honest, really didn't help them. I don't think people wanted to. Those who were watching NXT, I don't think wanted to watch if they watched Raw, or I don't know. So I feel like some people who either bothered with Raw didn't want to watch NXT. It's like it's one thing to watch a 3-hour show and then you got a day off and then you watch it on Wednesday. But to know you're going to get a pay-per-view, which may be crappy, then a crappy Raw, and then you get an NXT. By the time you get to NXT, man, you're kind of done with WWE. You kind of want the time off until SmackDown. So I feel like that kind of played into its demise a little bit. And the fact that certain people weren't, certain people were there, but with the times of what was going on, you didn't see certain people. We didn't get folks that we wanted to see. We got who we got, which was good. You had Adam Cole, you had the Undisputed, you had Finn Balor. We got Pete Dunne. Finally. Then Ciampa, and then of course Gargano. You had a few others in tag teams and all that, but it wasn't good enough for Vince. Okay, the ratings that they were getting were in the 600,000, 700,000. When they were on Wednesday nights, they were getting 7 to 8. Like they were competing back and forth.
Right.
They moved to Tuesday, and that dropped at least a couple of hundred. And now that you've got the 2.0 resurgence, it apparently is dropping even more. And higher ups are not happy about what they're putting out, even though everything that they're doing, everything, you've gotten rid of everything about Triple H that was NXT, and now you have just you've pissed off a fan base. And man, it's sad, but it's funny because it's sad because a lot of people really, really value NXT because it was like the one pure thing about WWE. If you had to compare Raw, SmackDown, NXT, a lot of people would say, well, NXT was the better show. You got to see a lot of great matches, and you got to see people you want to see. When it came to the pay-per-views, we all know what TakeOver was doing. It was taking over, and Vince was trying his best to change the days, put it on this day, put it on that day, put it here. It didn't matter when he put the TakeOver on. People were going to watch it because it was TakeOver. You knew you were going to get at least 4 to 5, 4.5 5-star matches. 4-star, at least a minimum of a 4. You may get a 3.5, depending on rivalry or what's going on or whatever. But for the most part, you got top tier matches, quality matches, not quantity, not a whole bunch of matches, and then maybe 1 or 2 or 3 may be good. You got quality matches that resonated with people, and now Now, like I said, man, they're not happy with the product. And the one thing I've said, you said, a lot of other people said, man, you're throwing too many new faces. You're throwing too many unproven people out there. You ain't
Right.
throwing. You got your few gems. Now, don't get me wrong. I'll say the four from War Games. You got Carmelo Hayes. You got Breaker. You got D'Angelo. I'll throw Waller in there because he's actually better than some of the other people that they were trying to put out there. But
Right.
you got those guys, and then you got some of the women that you're bringing in, and they're doing okay, but you still don't have enough, and you've just thrown away so much that brought you threw away so much value that brought attention to NXT, and man, it kind of sucks. It's funny in a damn that's kind of fucked up way, but it's still sad.
What up,
Leo,
Leo?
what up,
What up?
man? What up,
Leo,
man?
Earl. We got Earl in the building. What's
What
up,
up,
Earl?
Earl? What up, Earl? What up, do Earl? The booth is in
So
the booth.
So you okay? Now speaking of NXT, you're right. I actually just listened to an interview, Talk is Jericho, and Scotty 2 Hotty was on there. Scotty 2 Hotty, former WWE veteran. Of course, he's one of the coaches in the Performance Center as well. And he said, that he and a lot of other people, man, they started to notice this change, good 6 to 8 months ago when it's first announced. I mean, Vince McMahon has been so controlling that apparently, he even told the coaches he wanted the coaches to look younger. So he got the coaches backstage dyeing their hair, dyeing their beards. And Scotty Zuhadi was like, dude, why does it matter? We're not the ones on TV. But it just goes to show how much of a egomaniac Vince is. I mean, you need to have that much control that even people who aren't seen on TV need to look like the people who are on TV, which to me absolutely makes no sense. And then the
It,
thing is,
it's the environment that he was trying to create that he obviously didn't know what the hell he was doing.
exactly. And then the thing is, too, you said something too. You said that, well, and we all said it, but especially you and I when we talk, it's too much at one time. You literally came in and gentrified the whole damn brand at once. You didn't even, it ain't like you went house to house to house and just start buying up property. Nah, man, you came in and you said, you know what? Fuck your hood. We gonna buy all this shit. And that's exactly what they did, man. And now you're starting to see it. And my thing is this. Another thing that you said that really stuck out to me was the fact that they moved to Tuesday nights. That really hurt them because even though AEW for the most part was getting the better of NXT and the ratings and stuff like that, it was still interesting because you know why? It was it even though it wasn't a war in the magnitude or the sense of, oh, AEW or NXT was going to put each other out of business per se. It was a war in the sense that, okay, you never knew from week to week what was going on because you knew, even though these companies saying they're not paying attention to each other, you can kind of see, okay, who's doing what in reaction to what, regardless of what anybody was saying. And it was like you said too, it was kind of like, okay, it was cool to watch NXT as the appetizer, and then or AEW, I should say, first, and then follow up with NXT. Or if you wanted to, NXT was the appetizer. You had AEW as the main course. But the thing was, nobody stopped watching AEW. Is when NXT moved to Tuesdays, and we said this too. When it was the continuity, because you said with the takeovers, you had at least 4 to 5, 4.5 star quality matches. That's because much like AEW does now, you weren't having pay-per-views so often. You weren't having 20 matches on the card, with NXT anyway. You built these matches, these storylines for a quarter of a year, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And then so you had that payoff. And then when Tony Khan and AEW started doing their weekly specials, especially during the pandemic, and they started doing their little TV shows, and their little special one-offs here and there.
Yeah, yeah.
Triple H, they were trying to keep up because if you remember, I think they
The
had
Great American Bash.
they had a Great American Bash, which was two-week show, and then on top of that, they had like another 2 or 3 special TV shows. So it was kind of like by the time you get back to regular TV taping, you done had about 5-6 weeks of shit that has nothing to do with what you're doing now. And I think once, Triple H, and I'm not going to blame it on Trips, but once NXT kind of started to play catch up or keep up with AEW, I really felt that's when they really, really started to suffer. Because even, man, you said, even with the Black and Gold brand, when they were playing keep up, the storylines weren't hitting the same because everything was getting rushed, right? Everything was getting rushed. And then on top of things getting rushed, you had people getting caught up in the middle of storylines. So it was like, damn. And then when you had the rebrand to NXT 2.0, it wasn't like it was a slight change. It was a complete overhaul. And like you said, NXT was that one thing. It was the closest thing we got to independent wrestling that wasn't indie wrestling. And that's what the fans like, because AEW, Eric Bischoff said it, WWE, it's too pretty. It's too overproduced sometimes. NXT, the dark lights, you had the special entrances and you had the special performances. Triple H really made it feel like it was his own little community.
And what I liked about the lighting, it was the lighting. You can't see the crowd. I don't need to see the crowd. I just need to hear the crowd, but I need to hear a real crowd. Don't play me and try to audio it. No, I need the real crowd, because when you heard the real, it's like you can see the crowd. First and foremost, you can never not see the crowd. The crowd, you always saw the crowd, but the lighting on the ring, because it focused on the ring. It made you focus on the action. You didn't really pay attention to too many people in the crowd and what they were doing and what they looked like. Or, you could see them, but, that wasn't the focus. The focus was what was going on in the ring. And that's what a lot of people liked about the lighting. That's what I liked about the lighting. So that's what made the match feel important. It made it feel bigger than what it really was. I mean, if you think about some of the matches that we saw and what the storyline was for it, it's like, man, this is what y'all was fighting for. Y'all put on one hell of a match, but this is what y'all was fighting for. Like, come on, man. That did something to people. So now you have the formula. All you had to do was continue it. All right, okay. It was cool if you wanted to bring in, like, okay, when you did the what was the new people tournament? I forgot what it was called.
The breakout NXT breakout tournament.
The breakout tournament. Like, that was a great way during Triple H's Black and Gold era of bringing in a new talent. With doing that, you introduced like 4 new people, like right then and there. So it was like, all right, cool. We got these new guys. Let's see them, come up, and they were all pretty good. I mean, that tournament, once it got down to like the final 8 or final 4, or it started about 8. So about when they got to like that final 4, it was that was the crop right there. That was like your crop. Like, all right, these are your new 4. Let's let them show you what they got. And they did, and Carmelo Hayes came out on top. Cool. You had big dude. You had Duke Hudson. I can't think of big black dude. I can't remember his name. He was just on the show. Jones. You had Jones. You had Hudson. So it's like you had a couple of, and Jones and Hudson. My God, they're big guys that can move. Vince, I know Vince is gonna love seeing them. Cool. You brought them in, and then you changed everything. You brightened it up. You made it all colorful, and then you said all of you that were doing something important. Roddy Strong, we know you was getting ready to do something great with the Cruiserweight Championship. You was about to put on a workhorse of matches. You ain't doing that. Go sit in catering. You, the tag teams, Grizzly Young Veterans, we like you. We want you to be some goofballs. You go sit in catering. We'll call you when we're ready. And it just went down to a triple down effect. And now it's like, all right, all you new people, here you go. Show us what you got. And some, yeah, sure, but others, man, they suck during their promos, and really none of them ever really wrestled. So it was like, what was the point of really taking up all this time from other people that could be doing more meaningful stuff? And it's like, well, it's a double-edged sword a little bit, because it's like, well, you're complaining we're not producing new people. Okay, we were. But the problem wasn't that you weren't producing new people. The problem was you weren't producing the people that you had that we knew were good. That was the problem. You had some that could have been really great if you just gave them a little time, or if you put a little bit of effort behind them. That was the problem. The problem wasn't that you wasn't introducing new people, because you were bringing in new people. The problem was we knew how good they were. We knew who they were. We knew what worked for them, and you totally would change it. And it would suck, and people wouldn't be interested in it anymore. And you've done that to the development. you did that to the one thing people was like, man, at least WWE got this. This is, these guys are going to be pure. Not to say they're not pure, but it'll be its own version. It may take a while. It may actually be a success in a year. Who knows? I'm not guaranteeing that, but it is what it is, man. I just wanted to get that out there, because man, I don't look forward to tomorrow. I'm glad we changed how we do our show, and I gotta sit there and actually gotta watch that. I got 24 hours to watch it before we do our shooting from the hip on NXT on Wednesday. So it's like that's kind of where I'm at with NXT. I said it last week before, and man, this kind of just proves it.
Speaking of NXT, man, so tonight it's been rumored that LA Knight and Roderick Strong are backstage at tonight's Monday Night Raw tapings. They were already on Friday Night SmackDown tapings. We already knew that Roddy Strong's going to probably get called up, LA Knight as well. Too cold, man. All right. Let me ask you this. We know WWE tends to flub, talents from NXT on the main roster, but then there are the exception. You got your not Samoa Joe. You got your Damian Priest, you got your Kevin Owens to a degree. You got your Seth Rollins. So you got your Baileys, your Sausage. You got your people that'll make it. As far as LA Knight and Roddy Strong, man, do you think either one or both of these guys would do anything on the main roster? To me, I feel like LA Knight. I feel like he has more of a chance just because of his charisma, and of course he's a bigger guy. But Roddy Strong, you can't sleep on Strong. Do you think that matters on the main roster for any one of these two?
Doesn't matter. That are you asking? Does it matter that how good they are? That will they be able to do something? My answer is no. Not at all. Not at all. Because one, they're too undersized. I don't see them being. I mean, I now. Roddy, on one hand, I can see him on SmackDown if they decide to let him decide to put him in a good rivalry with somebody. I can see him kind of going back and forth, but I just don't see. Oh man, I see a totally different guy than what I am used to, than what I know, and I mean, look at Damian Priest. Damian Priest, I mean, yeah, he talks like the guy we used to see, but man, he just does not. He doesn't move. He just doesn't move like the guy we knew, man. He's not the party guy, man. He does it, but it's like, he's so mild, so mid. Damian Priest is mid, man. Yeah, this dude is mid now, and I'm still a fan. He's just, dude. I kind of want him. I'm ready for him to turn heel. Just so it's like, man, bring some excitement to you, man. We're at least that way. I feel like I'll get the old Damian Priest a little bit.
Right.
When you think of, like you mentioned it, guys that people have succeeded. There have been some you names. Kevin Owens, I feel like he has succeeded. One, you came in, you had a great match with John Cena as the NXT champion. I mean, that put you on the map. Then you come in, you're United States champion, you win the Intercontinental Championship, you win a Tag Team Championship, and you win a Universal Championship, dude. You're a Grand Slam champion. All right, man, top tier. The Shield, top tier. Finn Balor, look, his run might have been terrible. Universal, Intercontinental, and I believe United States champion. He's got that. Do I see that out of LA Knight and Strong? No. I can see LA Knight getting the Adam Cole role and becoming someone's manager and getting his head shaved. I can.
Hey, what do you say? And that's not a rumor. That's a fact of life.
Man, this shit. It's not a prediction. It's a spoiler. That's what it is. But
ladies and gentlemen,
but I want to see more from them, but especially for Strong. But I don't have faith in it. I mean, Riddle got too dumb when he got to the main roster, but luckily he's still charismatic and funny, and he's with Orton, so he's still doing good. And Priest is still United States champion. They're starting to do something with him now with Kevin Owens, but other people.
Oh shit, my bad. I
I'm
didn't.
good.
I didn't realize. I didn't realize that was the end of a thought there. I'm sorry. I didn't know that was a
My
period
bad.
or. Hey, I didn't know if it was a period or a comma.
My
All
bad.
right, man. You good? You good? Hey, you stop like a car with good brakes, boy. At the drop of a dime.
Oh shit.
All
Oh
right.
man.
All right, man. So moving forward, so something else that we already talked about, but man, has really, really, really been gaining traction on social media, man. The hashtag on Twitter, Free Ali, as everybody named mama wrestlers from every promotion around the goddamn universe is saying, hey man, free that boy Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali, as we already know, we've already talked about, he's requested his release from WWE. He hasn't gotten it yet. To me, feel like this is definitely a power play. A lot of people feel like this is a power play by Vince and WWE. Sorry, little man. Definitely feel like this is a power play by Vince and WWE. But my thing is this, Tuco, okay. How does this make WWE look in your eyes? Like you said, you released all this talent not too long ago, and you say, budget cuts were the reason why. And then you're saying, no, we're going to keep you. But here's a guy who's actively telling you, hey, no hard feelings. I'm ready. Let me go. And you're still holding on to him, man. So does it make you think that the theory, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but does it make you think that the theory of budget cuts was bullshit all along?
Of course, the theory of budget cuts was bullshit all along. Man, we all knew that. You can't say budget cuts.
Keep talking, bro. Keep talking.
You can't say budget cuts when you're making $500,000 every 3 months. Like, dude, come on, man. Really? Like, okay, I get you got to make some decisions on some stuff. When people get to be in there a certain amount of time and they get to rack up a certain amount of. I get an understanding of business and that you have to make some decisions sometimes, but when it comes to the wrestlers and some. You can say I can see why they let them go. They weren't really using them. They weren't really doing anything. We never got to see them. It's unfortunate, but now they get an opportunity somewhere else. And when you look at some of the people that are like really names and are good merch sellers, that makes you question, like, all right, what was really the reason? I mean, of course, we all know Bray Wyatt. We can all say him because knowing that Bray Wyatt was someone that got released, you had your head scratching, like, what, why? Well, he was difficult to work with, and budget cuts. Why was he difficult to work with? Because y'all kept trying to crap on his character time and time and time again, and he got tired of that shit. Hell yeah, I get tired of that shit too, especially when you're crapping on a character that's getting over, man. How many of them damn little light things did you sell at your arenas every time he would come out and people would light them up? It used to be cell phones, and then you started selling little lanterns, and then people started hosting them up, and people were buying them, dude. I mean, people were buying the shirts. They were into the Wyatt family. Okay, you killed off the Wyatt. Now he becomes the Fiend. My God, what does he do? He puts his damn head on a damn lantern, and it's almost the greatest thing ever. He's now donned this mask. He's now this new, deep, dark, sick, demonic, maniacal, demonic kind of thing. So it's like, okay, wow, this is different, and it's awesome. You can question some of the stuff he did in the ring, whatever, but what he did with it, and then the Mr. Rogers. Oh, you know how I felt seeing Bray Wyatt come on in the Firefly Fun House, and he's coming out happy in his red sweater. Like, come on, man. You know how that felt to me. Like, I just love watching it. Oh my God, Rattling Rabbit, man. That dude never had it. He never had a chance. But just little things, man, that was getting over, and it just really made you question. Well, why was he difficult to be worked with? Well, this is why, man. You stop crapping on the genius of what he's doing. Just let it organically happen. Obviously, man, if this man is putting in enough input of what he's doing and it's getting over, what's the problem? So when you think of a guy like Ali, now some people feel bad for Ali, but some people really don't feel Ali's really that great. They don't really feel that good. Ali is definitely somebody who is good. To me, he's good. His character, the way he talks, he can talk on a microphone. The dude has a a great speaking voice to, really go out there and say something. He doesn't really stutter over his words too much. And when he focuses on what he wants to do, he really goes out there and he does it. You got to think about everything they've had this dude do, and can't tell me he didn't go out there and try to get it over. But were we less behind him, or more of the gimmick of what they were trying to push? And I feel like it was more of the gimmick of what they were trying to push, and the fact that people weren't feeling like WWE was going to really push him, or that belief that they would push him. It's like that on top of it doesn't make it, any better. So sometimes, man, you gotta sit back and you gotta look at it. So when we see he asked for his release after you've gotten so many people because of budget cuts, and then someone actually asks for it and you don't want to give it to him, it's because of two reasons. One, as you already said, and two, the other one is, man, quite honestly, I don't think they can really afford to let him go. Be honest. I just don't really think so.
And it's funny too, because he's not the first one to ask for his release and actually get his release. That's the crazy part. There's been people since the budget cut crisis, is what we're gonna call it, that asked for their release and actually got it. So the fact that he asked for his and didn't get it, I thought it was nuts. All right, man. Moving on to more news, man. So we got the Royal Rumble coming up this Saturday. This Saturday, and we got Mickie James, Impact Knockouts Women's Champion. The Impact Knockouts champion. She's agreed she's going to do it. She said she's planning on coming in with her Impact Championship and her Impact theme song. There's been other rumors of, people trying to come over from Impact, possibly Moose, but, there's no confirmation there. But two more women who have been confirmed, who have been reached out to, but said no and declined, are the formerly known Iconics, the Inspiration. They shut that shit down. Somebody on Twitter asked Deonna Purrazzo, hey, would you be interested? She said, nah. Too cold, man. The Iconics, the Inspiration. Okay, now, is this a sign of WWE becoming desperate? We already know they're bringing back, legends to try to make things happen. But the fact that you're reaching out to people you let go not even a full year ago, if that a full year ago, it's kind of like, all right, you weren't good enough for us then, but we're going to bring you back now. Do you feel like that's a slap in the face if you're these performers who just got let go and they're asking you to come back?
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. Like, I'm sorry. Couldn't resist that cookie. I'm very surprised about Mickie James. But I understand. They quickly apologized that was not the way that was supposed to go down, as far as how they sent her belongings in the trash bag in a box and all that shit.
I think Vince really feels that way. I think Vince definitely didn't know that was going to happen like that.
Right, especially to her. Okay, to her. Like, that's your sixth-time WWE Women's Champion. That woman has put on some great matches. She has definitely done some good stuff in WWE. You want to at least, I mean, especially, you deciding to let her go. It ain't, and because you're not really gonna use her, then okay, cool. But that's really kind of messed up. So yeah, there was an apology on that, and to kind of, help, obviously help themselves, but also kind of give her that respect that, hey, let's try to do something. Now, how is this working? It's really not the fact. It's really more the fact that she's the Impact Women's Champion, that Impact is involved, because she's really a free agent. She could have just, if she wasn't the champion right now, she could actually just show up. And people would just be, oh, Mickie James showed up. Oh, that's kind of odd. There would be no real other story to it. It would be the fact that last time we knew, Vince, WWE sent her stuff back in the trash bag, and she shows up, like, wow, that's kind of odd. But knowing that, and her, resurging herself back in wrestling and going back to Impact and being the Impact Women's Champion and putting on a hell of a death match with Peraza, which was an awesome match. That that has done great things for her. And with WWE being in the lack of prominent names in the Women's Royal Rumble, star power, basically, man, because it's WWE, they like to bring back legends and old timers and all that other stuff. And when you look at all the people you have kind of pissed off, it's like, nah, well, we're good. And a lot of people are saying we're good. Like, you didn't value us. And some people are like, you know what, I'll take the opportunity and you gonna pay me nicely for it. It's like, and I'm pretty sure Mickie James gonna get paid nicely for it. She gonna get her little money's worth. But that's the result of it, man, is that it's everything that we've been saying, man. It's the fact that you're not taking the time to properly groom your talent. Like, I still feel like, even though Bianca Belair made the best of her run towards the middle, I feel like the beginning was terrible. Like, you already had her really kind of losing, not really doing much on Raw. Then you bring her to SmackDown and you have her losing again. It would have been cool if she'd have got a win. You know, I feel like she should have got a surprise victory over Bayley, and then you could have built on a rivalry from that. You know, they could have went back and forth. Like, she didn't have to lose 3 or 4 times, and then you do something, and then you wait to the Royal Rumble to finally do something with her. You know, which was okay for what happened afterwards, but there were still little things you could have did differently. Rhea Ripley, you could have did differently. It's so much that you could just really do different. Hell, Tony Storm, you could have did that so different. Okay, I'm sorry, but that's the issue. That's the issue, man. Too many people that folks like and want to be fans of aren't a part of the company. And when you look at the names that you're putting out there, a lot of them are people that you made look like nothing for years. That you've made none of these people really feel like big stars. Like, any of these people really got. I mean, when you really look at the men's and women's this year, dude, do you like? I can't wait till we get to our prediction show.
The men's side looks terrible. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I can't wait till we get to the prediction show, because oh man, I cannot wait till we get to that. But do anybody look like there's a legit star? Anybody at that group? And I mean, not just because you just a fan, but like, when you look at the field of whatever's announced, whoever was announced for both sides, like, do you feel like, I feel like this person could do it? But then you got to think about who's the champions. Now think about who's the champions.
Yeah.
So who on this current roster do you look at? That, mind you, Drew McIntyre is injured. You got a Big E. You might say Seth Rollins. You may be able to say like maybe 4 or 5 people. But outside of that 4 or 5 people who already been champion, okay, don't give me the names of the people that have already won the World Heavyweight or the Universal Championship. Give me a name of somebody that hasn't won it, that has not won it, and can you legitimately tell me they're that new hot thing that people want to see? And that's the hard thing. You can't really say that, and that's the problem. That's why you got what you got.
Speaking of the hot thing that people want to see, Tuco, man, what are your thoughts on WWE, man, trying to not pressure, excuse me, potentially wanting to bring back, the pressure's on them to bring back Ronda Rousey.
That's how desperate they are. Man, they desperate. She just had a baby, man. They desperate.
Exactly. My thing is this, and I don't want to be too long on Ronda because there's a few other things, but just okay. So there's a lot of people who discredit Ronda, right? They said that she wasn't really needed when she had her initial run in WWE, and I feel like that's kind of yes and kind of no. To me, I feel like was she needed as far as in-ring talent-wise? No. Do I feel like the exposure she brought from the mainstream did it wonders for WWE? Yes. And that's what I think people fail to understand. Ronda Rousey, I don't think I can pretty much guarantee she wasn't there to make Sasha Banks look better. She wasn't there to make Charlotte look better. She wasn't there to make Becky Lynch look better. Now, they did look more badass when Charlotte and Ronda had they feud, and with Charlotte and Becky, now they did look more badass, but she wasn't
I'll never forget that women's invasion, man. That women's invasion and them just showing Becky Lynch putting Ronda Rousey into this armor. And that was so awesome to see, because that did so much. Like, yo, I mean, it did great for Becky Lynch, but just the visual of it, that did so much, man. Like you said, it brought so much attention to
it. Kevin Smith says Veer. Hey, you know what? Hey, the way they been promoting Veer coming, he might that'd be some shit if he show up at the Rumble. Never seen his ass, and he just come in and win. Veer. All right, Shanna says, "Do you think Umaga will be in the WWE Hall of Fame?" Too cold. Before we hit that one, what you thinking, man? You think Veer could do it? I don't know. Because he could be. He could be.
You
He's a
know
big
what?
dude.
Let's be honest,
Almost.
man.
Now we know talent wise, almost as green as goose shit. But I'm just saying, you asked me, I'm going off of Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn's logic here. It's full ideology.
Now that you said that name, I can see his big ass winning it. But then again, I can see him getting tossed out too.
Who almost?
Yeah, I can see him getting tossed
Okay.
out. Man, I don't know. I don't know yet, man. I don't know because, like I said, I could see like saying almost and Veer. Excuse me. They're like a couple of names. I can see Veer finally appearing in the Royal Rumble. That actually makes sense. It's like you've been saying this dude has been coming and been coming. Well, let's bring him out. Question is are they ready for him to come out? Is he ready, and do they believe he's ready for him to come out? That would be the thing, and I feel like that'd be a nice missed opportunity where you can bring him in for the Royal Rumble, where the Royal Rumble really ain't based on in-ring performance. It really is based on in-ring performance, but it's not based on you pinning them. It's based on you throwing people out, so you can kind of be a little,
right.
a little bit extra, to kind of to prove something, put something over. So it makes sense. Will they do it? I don't know because it makes sense. So, but almost. I don't think almost will win. I think he'll try to beat someone's record, but I don't see him winning.
Too cool. I want to talk to you about your boy, man, the machine, Brian Cage. Now, we've all been wondering, where the hell is Brian Cage? We felt like this guy, man, he's got it all. I mean, he's a big ass guy, man, super heavyweight that can move and do things that a luchador can do to a degree. It's rumored, man, his contract will be up very, very soon. He and Joey Janela and a few other people, Lio Rush, there's contracts coming up, but I'm really going to focus on Brian Cage right here. Dude, do you feel like Tony Khan, man, he missed the ball with a guy like Brian Cage? And also, do you think people would give this situation a lot more grief had this been Brian Cage and Vince McMahon, but they're kind of letting it ride because of Tony Khan? Because we get on Vince's ass about the way he handles people. But I really feel like, man, with Tony Khan, this is really, truly a missed opportunity.
I do too. I do too. Because you there's no reason why the him leaving FTW storyline took forever to get to the point that it got to finally. Like, and then I'm sorry, man, how does he lose the start twice? I like, dude, like how do you lose twice, dude? Like I like he should not, like, no, man. You could have had a good match with Ricky Starks, but Brian Cage should have won, and he should have won, looked dominant, leaving out. And then you could have had him. I'm sorry. I like Sammy Guevara. I love that he beat Miro. But what was I speaking? What was I putting out there? I was putting Brian Cage versus Miro for that TNT championship. Yeah. I'm like, man, if you wanna put out there that you got guys that can go out there for that heavyweight championship, why not? Brian Cage is somebody people know, they like him. Miro was doing what he was doing, and he was hot. Why not? And you had a paper. It was like, why not do that? I wanted to see Brian Cage versus Miro. Like, yo, let's do it, because that'll be the perfect person. Miro can, he's requesting for that challenge. Where's that challenge? Who dares? And here comes Brian Cage. Like, ooh, you dare? All right, okay, I got to. Oh, okay, I got to readjust here. Right, all right, okay, yeah, all right, cool. And you got a championship that highlights these kind of guys and with their abilities and what they can actually do. I'm not saying they would have put on a 5-star match, but man, they could have worked with something. Give them 20 good minutes. I think they could have did something. It definitely would have been brutal, but it would have been shocking and surprising because they would have did things you wouldn't have thought they should be doing. And I think it could have worked, but overall for Brian Cage, I feel like, Tony Khan definitely dropped the ball because wherever he gets to be able to go and be able to really shine and do him, he's gonna let it be known. And yeah, that's one. Joey Janela, man, be honest, man, dude's been kind of getting himself in trouble. So if he don't get resigned, I kind of understand why. But Lio Rush, be honest, dude, it's cool to see him, cool to see Rush, but if he don't resign back, it's no sweat off me, man. He'll go somewhere else. They'll sign him. He'll do his thing. I don't doubt he won't go somewhere else. It's just not a big thing if he don't sign. But Brian Cage, yeah, man, yeah. Because we was talking it for a minute. I was putting it out there. It looked like it may happen that way, but it went the way it did.
Too cold, man. We winding down. We getting a home stretch. This right here is a 2-part question. This one right here is, of course, Impact World Champion Moose. And then, of course, man, we got GCW Hardcore Champion, the superstar, that boy Nick fucking Gage, MDK all day. All right, so man, my question for you about these two guys: we see Moose killing it on Impact. We see Nick Gage, what he can do on the indie scene and what kind of name he's holding there. He had a match with Chris Jericho, man, which really got him out there on a mainstream level. As far as Moose and Nick Gage go, can you see, now Nick Gage is a little up there, but can you see either one of these guys, man, making it in a quote-unquote big leagues, that being AEW or WWE, or at least in the very least NXT to a degree?
Moose, most definitely. Gage, his style, no. AEW, as far as it'll go. But Moose,
okay,
if given the true opportunity to show what he can do, sure. Impact's letting them run wild, and we see the crowd reacts to it. We saw it firsthand. So it's like, yeah, all right, cool. No, but Gage, but Moose, yeah, sure. With confidence, if they actually try to push him. If they, WWE, you know how they do people, so you gotta take that. You gotta take that as it is.
All right, then the last thing. So we got the Royal Rumble coming up. We got our predictions coming up in a couple of days or whatever. But before we get to that, man, so every year WWE, they like to throw surprises out there. So my question to you is too cold. One man, one woman. Who are a surprise, or who is a surprise entrant you either like to see or you're expecting to see, if you could choose one? No matter if it's been confirmed or not. If you would like to see somebody on either side, man, who would it be?
I'm not gonna lie. Part of me would like to see if WWE would actually let other people's champions come, like not maybe everybody, but just a few stars. My eyes, you got 30 people. Yeah, you can give up 5 spots. You still got 25 of your own people. You know what I'm saying? But that's asking a lot. We're getting Mickie James. Would it be cool to see someone else? Sure. Are they a former WWE employee? I can probably see it, but I don't. There's no name that really strikes out. Like if Christian Cage showed up, it would be the same reaction when he showed up in AEW. It's like, it's Christian. That's Christian. Okay, all right, cool. But I don't have a name, bro. Asuka. It would be nice to see Asuka come back. I like to see my girl come back. Honestly, that's just about it. Show up for the first time ever. I don't have a name. I'd just be surprised if anybody outside of a non-WWE person that maybe don't work there shows up. But
any thoughts on Bayley possibly coming back, or still too soon?
Those have kind of been iffy as far as like some saying yeah she's on track, some saying nah she's still not ready. But that could be just that could just be speculation, trying to hide the fact that she's really ready and coming back. But again, if Asuka and Bayley shows back up, man, I'd be okay with that. Like I would be okay with that because I would have a bit of confidence for the women's roster, at least knowing I got a couple of veterans that are good coming back. Do I trust that anything will happen with them? Nah, that's a whole nother story. But at least I know I got two good veterans that know how to work the ring, two former champions. You know, you can't, I guess, complain too much about that.
All right. Well, with that being said, man, we came in, we gave the people 45 solid minutes, man, of news and rumors and all that good stuff. You over there smashing. I'm about to go do the same. We know we gonna come back and holler at the people tomorrow. But Tuco, man, as always, bro. It's an honor to come over here, man, talk a little shit with you, pick your brain, and do what we do.
For sure, man. For sure.
Rough day. But hey, as they say, man, shit happens. Keep pushing it. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for tuning in to another episode of Generational Wrestling Podcast, man. I'm the 28-year-old piece of gold. He's too cold. And until next time, man, we'll see you when we see you. Peace.